Mouthguards aren't something I would commonly review on this channel, even though every combat sport athlete needs one. And you probably won't see me review many in the future either, just because they're obviously not as visually or aesthetically pleasing as a set of boxing gloves. You see, most of you out there would fall into two types of categories. One, you'll buy a mouthguard that's super cheap at any sort of retail store out there, that's super easy to mold, but obviously not as comfortable and not as high quality. The other half of you will obviously buy a custom-made mouthguard, which obviously does such a better job at protecting your teeth, but you're obviously paying a little bit more for it. But every now and again, I find a piece of gold in the rough. And today that is absolutely the case with the Sisu Max Mouthguard. So to give you some context, mouthguards weren't typically something high up on my priority list when I first started Muay Thai. But once I started to realize from sparring especially that you can get knocked around a lot, it was time for me to take my dental health much more seriously. And that's when I thought a custom mouthguard would be a great idea. And after going through several of them at hundreds of dollars a piece, I started to realize that I needed to refresh them every year or two just because of the hygienic aspect. They were really hard to clean after a while and keep all the nasties away. That is when a close friend of mine told me about Sisu, and I hope I'm saying that right. And don't let such a slim fitting looking mouthguard fool you. These are in fact, in my opinion, the very best DIY mouthguards available. And this is actually the second one I've ever purchased in the charcoal black, but I probably should have chose a better color because if it starts to get dirty, it's probably gonna be hard for me to tell exactly what I need to clean. On a positive note, however, getting black means you probably won't be able to see the blood coming out of my mouth. And as you can see, the Sisu Max mouthguard is 30% slimmer and 50% stronger in comparison to conventional mouthguards out there. And this is a boil mouthguard. It takes about a minute in order to set it, and the best part is you can remold this mouthguard up to 20 times. And another great thing to add is a lot of the nasty plastics in most mouthguards aren't in there either. This mouthguard is BPA, BPS, latex, PVC, and phthalate free. So if you manage to stuff up the initial mold a few times, you're still good to go and you're not putting any of those nasty plastics inside your mouth. And for the record, my first Sisu mouthguard only needed molding maybe half a dozen times in the first year or two that I had it. And setting the mouthguard for me took a few times because I have a bit of a narrow bite. Once I got it right, however, you can see how well it grips to the top of my teeth and how easy it is for me to talk. And for combat sports, this is where the real benefits, in my opinion, can take place. Especially round after round if you're trying to talk to a partner, that makes it super easy to communicate, which is fantastic. And I don't feel it's ever gonna fly out of my mouth if a cheeky hook or something hits me off guard. No matter what I do, I don't feel like this mouthguard's gonna move at all. And I feel that this is a tremendous feature, especially for clenching. When you are in a combat sport, you find that you're typically going to bite down on your mouthguard or your mouthpiece a lot, which I find is probably not the best for your cardio long term. This I find you can keep your jaw a little bit more relaxed, you can breathe a little bit easier. Really important, especially if cardio is a significant factor of your sport. But again, that is just my personal opinion. There is no scientific evidence behind that, but I find if you're more in a relaxed state while you're sparring, I obviously find that your gas tank is going to last a lot longer. And the bottom teeth only just fit into the mouthguard, so I think it does just enough there when it comes to the coverage. Custom mouthguards are probably going to do a slightly better job, but in saying that, especially in comparison to conventional mouthguards, this is absolutely awesome. The only real negative of the Sisu Max mouthguard is that it's a DIYer. So if you mold it incorrectly, you probably will increase the risk of injury to your teeth or even your gums. So make sure you mold it correctly, and that way it fits perfectly, it grips well, and you have the best time while you're training or competing in your sport. So for a DIY mouthguard that seems to have a lot going for it, you probably expect it to be quite expensive. But for only just over 50 Aussie dollars, you can get one of these bad boys delivered to your door in a day or two if you have Amazon Prime down here in Australia. And I did the math too. Even if you buy one of these per year, you're still so much better off in comparison to a custom mouthguard that lasts you a year or two. You could buy one every single year and still probably not pay as much as you would when it comes to buying a custom made mouthguard. And I also think it's good from a hygiene perspective as well. I don't think it's good to have a mouthguard over 12 months. I just think there's too many nasties and too many things going to your mouth like blood and sweat and saliva that you're just not going to be able to thoroughly clean, especially over that 12-month mark. Most of us probably do a very average job of cleaning our mouth guard. I try to clean mine after every session, but in saying that, sometimes you forget. So after 12 months, replacing yours probably seems like a pretty good idea. The only other slight nuisance about the Sisu mouthguards is it actually doesn't have a case, so you will have to buy them separately. And I totally get that. I think it's good not to include a case with every mouthguard. You don't need a case every time you buy a new mouthguard, but it would have been nice to see a combo kit from Sisu so you could get the mouthguard and the case all in one. But anyway, that is just a small afterthought. So finally, who would I recommend the Sisu Max Guard to? Unless you need a mouthguard for specific dental reasons, braces, etc., I think the Sisu mouthguard is for everyone. Even if you're budget conscious, the Sisu Max mouthguard should be the minimum standard you look at when it comes to purchasing your first or next mouthguard. But if you do have the budget for a custom-made mouthguard, there is absolutely no reason you shouldn't go down that route either. They are probably going to be the best form fit you can buy, but again, when it comes to budget, you are going to be paying more in the long run. So that's it, legends, for my first and probably last ever mouthguard review until something even better comes out. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions about this mouthguard or any other mouthguards, let me know down in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer whenever I can. I'll leave a link down below so you can buy yourself one of these bad boys if you like. And if you're still bored or have nothing to do, why not check out one of my other reviews? As always, have a great day, legends, and I'll see you for another review real soon.